be discussing more about the other factors that would affect changes in demand. We all know that graphically, when demand changes, it could be graphically represented into like a movement or a shift. Movement is when your graph would only show that price is the only one changing, and shift would entail you to see that there are other factors affecting the change in your demand. But in the real world, is price is not the only factor affecting our demand for a certain product. That's why, aside from price, what are the other factors that would affect the demand of a specific product or service? So here are these products, or here are these factors. First, we have income. The higher the income of a certain individual, the more likely that he would be able to buy a specific good or service. Therefore, as your income would go high, Y represents the word income in economics, more likely that your quantity demanded for the specific product would also increase. Second factor is what we call taste and preference. Here, the demand of a certain product would increase as it is more chosen by the consumers being targeted. Example, youngsters would prefer buying Nike products because they feel liking it. They feel that it would suit their taste. That's why the demand for Nike shoes for youngsters would definitely be a lot. So the more the product would be preferred, the more possibility that the quantity demanded would also be increasing. Third is what we call population. As a place would have more population, there is a possibility that there would be more potential consumers would also be present in that specific product, tantamount to saying that demand for specific commodity would also increase. Therefore, the more population there is, the more quantity demanded a specific commodity would be. Another factor that would affect demand of a specific product is what we call occasion, season, and weather. We all know for one that whenever there's a celebration, demand would increase for a specific product because they would normally signify the occasion being celebrated in that specific time. Therefore, when there's a certain occasion, quantity demanded of specific products would definitely shoot up. So let's say during Christmas, we Filipinos more likely will buy um, cheese balls and ham. So during the Christmas season, definitely there is a possibility that the demand for these commodities would increase. However, if we're going to compare the demand of these products during the normal times of the year, I don't think that the quantity demanded for cheese balls would remain the same as that of the quantity demanded of those products in December. Also, whenever there's a calamity, there is a possibility that a change of demand would be seen. Therefore, if there's a calamity, specific quantity demanded of a product would decrease. So let's say we look into sardines, when there's a typhoon, more often than not, that in a few months' time, the quantity demanded for sardines might also be affected because people would have this feeling that fishes would not be that safe because there was a typhoon that came in. So that would also more likely affect the potential buyers' feeling on that specific product. Fifth factor is what we call expectations. When a consumer would normally feel anxious, would feel discomfort in a specific happening in a country, or when there's grave scare being distributed or being circulated in a specific society, that may also affect the demand of specific goods and services. That's why shortages or price increase would definitely exist. So if people would anticipate that there is a possibility of a shortage or there's a possibility of a price increase, people have a tendency to panic buy or hoard. Like example, when when there's a typhoon coming, people would normally go to the supermarket and buy as much as possible because they don't want to feel scared that they would lose commodities that they would need during the typhoon or the duration of the typhoon. So when there's high expectation, normally there's a possibility also that the quantity demanded of specific products would increase. Another example I'd like to cite here would be, say there is price hike of a specific good like oil. If there's price hike for oil, commuters or people driving would normally stock up oil or buy oil prior to the price hike because they don't want to experience the shooting up of the prices of oil at a time. So definitely the demand for oil on before the increase would definitely shoot up. But the demand or the after the price increase is already imposed, definitely the demand will already lessen. Last among the least among the factors would be what we call the prices of related goods. And we all know for a fact in economics that there are two types of goods that we normally associate when we talk of demand. And the first type of good is what we call substitute goods. The other one is what we call complementary goods. A substitute good, as we all know, are goods that can be bought in place of another good. Let's say if the prices of chicken would shoot up, we normally either buy fish or pork to substitute for chicken. Or let's say the price of rice would rise. Normally, what people would do would be to buy bread or corn to substitute for rice. So in this case, if the price of the substitute A would go up, definitely quantity demanded for product B would also shoot up. Let's say prices for potatoes would go up. There is a tendency that people would prefer buying kamote to substitute for potatoes. Or say prices of beef would shoot up. Tendency of people is to prefer or buy fish or chicken to substitute for beef. Or say in terms of toothpaste, if Colgate's price will go up, people would normally choose other products like Close Up, Pepsodent, Crest, etc. Last but definitely not the least is what we call complementary goods. Complementary goods, on the other hand, are goods that normally go together and are normally consumed simultaneously. Examples would be like coffee and sugar, bread and butter, or coffee mates, sort of. So, if the price of one complement good would go up, definitely the quantity demanded of the other good would be affected. So let's say the prices of sugar would shoot up. Definitely people would lessen their coffee intake. Therefore, quantity demanded for coffee would also be affected. Say prices of bread would rise. So definitely people would also not buy spreads for their bread or would lessen their inkling to buy spreads for their bread. So more likely, more often than not, then quantity demanded for bread or for butter would also be lessened. So today, I was able to introduce to you the different factors that would affect demand shifts. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of the day.